Okay, so this is video journal number one, my first one. And today, this afternoon actually, we went to the Hindu temple of Greater Chicago. I went with my friend, who is Hindu, and her mother. So upon first arriving, I feel like a bit of an outsider because there are a lot of Indian people and not a lot of white people and not or people from other ethnicities. So I feel kind of like I'm in the minority for once in my life, which I'm not really used to because I've never really been in the minority. So it was definitely different, and I didn't feel as comfortable as I would have if there were more white people there. And but I felt a little bit more comfortable than I would have if I had gone alone because my friend was with me and her mom was with us too, and I'm very close with her mom, so it it wasn't as bad as it could have been. And so upon first arriving, we walked in and we went to the South India temple. There's two temples, the South India one and the North India one, and they're on different levels, and they have the same gods, they're just under different names, which I found kind of interesting because different places they celebrate different people depending on like what's yeah, it's just the same god but just different names, which I found kind of interesting. And so we went to the South India temple, and everyone was very, everyone was either very dressed up in saris or they were wearing casual clothes, which I found kind of interesting because usually when I go to church, everyone's like wearing their best like outfits, but with them it's more like you can choose what you want to wear and how you want to look. And I found that really interesting because Hinduism is a very individual religion, as in everyone has their own thing that they can do. Like, they don't need to adapt to what everyone else is doing. They can do their own thing, which I kind of find interesting because in Christianity, it's just like everyone has to look nice for church. It's kind of the unspoken rule. So, yeah, as we walk in, there's about, I would want to say like 50 people in the South India temple, and they're doing a lot of different things. Some are praying, and it turns out praying is very individual as well. You can do a lot of different things. Some pray by walking around the idols. Some pray by just sitting, bending down and praying with their hands together, and some stand up and do it. Some are closer to the aisle, some are farther away, some lay down completely on the floor. It depends on what you do individually, which is another thing that I found really cool because in Christianity you just kind of put your hands together and pray. It's not really individual. Everyone kind of does the same thing. Yeah, and there were a lot of priests around doing some rituals for people because you can just go up to a priest basically and request that he do a ritual because there's a lot of different kinds. Like, for example, there's ones where you bless your car. Like, if you bought a new car, you bless a baby that was born or something like that. It's very, like, it's kind of on the whim. Like, they don't really have a schedule for it, which I found kind of interesting. And again, very individual because you can choose what you want to be blessed or what you don't want to be blessed. And yeah, so, and the person with the most power seems to be mostly the priests because they're like the ones that know everything and they're conducting ceremonies and everyone's just listening to them because they obviously know what they're doing. Yeah, so, and we saw that a new idol was being brought in, and there was like this huge celebration outside because it was going towards the North India temple. So my friend and I decided to go follow it to see what was happening. So we went out and we got to see like the ceremony that they were doing in the North Temple to celebrate it, and it was very interesting. It's a more extravagant ceremony than say just blessing a car because it's very different, and I was just, it was like, I think it was this god that was like the faithful companion of one of the major gods, so he was very important. He took the form of a monkey, which I thought was pretty interesting because in Christianity there's just a lot of like, God's a guy and it's not, or well, they don't know what sex it is, but anyway, it's like it's a human, whereas like in Hinduism there's a lot of creature gods and different things. So yeah, overall there were about 100 male participants and 100 female participants because there were a lot more in the North India temple. And yeah, So I found it really interesting that the new idol was coming in because it was a different ceremony. It was a big like celebration. And a lot of people were actually staring at me because I was white and I wasn't a person that had gone to this the temple before. So a lot of people were staring at me, and people were like children mostly were staring at me because they were like, "Ooh, it's a white person. What are they doing at the Hindu temple?" Yeah. So, because I'm guessing not a lot of people who are white come here regularly. So, yeah, and it was difficult because I was trying to learn all the customs and what to do and not to do. And it was kind of interesting slash hard, but it was also very cool to kind of learn about this new culture that I'm not a part of. So I found it really interesting at the same time. So after we saw the idol being blessed, we went to the temple cafe and I got to eat some legit Indian food and it was really good. I love food, so anything that involves food is really good. It's really, really spicy. My friend and I split a dosa, which is like this huge burrito that's full of like a mixture of potatoes and other stuff and spices, and it's really, really good. And you have like these different dips that you can dip it in to, and it's like there's like they're all spicy, but they're spicy in different ways, so it's different kinds of spices, which I found really cool, and it was really, really good. Yeah, so I had a really fun time, even though it was kind of awkward. I still had a fun time. So, yeah. Okay, bye.